Toys, the stuff of children's dreams and desires. There is always some must-have item. For me, it was always the next Lego set. This pattern hasn't changed in the slightest, and I'd argue it's not limited to children or even nationality. There are many things that have changed about toys over the years: batteries, motors, voice capabilities, screens, and few brands or items remain popular over the years. Even looking at my beloved Lego. Yes, it's still around and the brand is strong, but if we took a set from 30 years ago and a set from today, there are some definite differences. New parts, higher quality printing, flesh-colored minifigures, Harry Potter, and other brand licensing. Yes, it's Lego, but it's not necessarily the same Lego from the past. But in some rare cases, little to nothing changes, and the toy remains a sales tour de force. Die-cast cars are one such item, a staple for girls and boys who love cars around the world. Matchbox, Hot Wheels, brands worth millions have been making virtually the same core product for ages. Their Japanese counterpart, Tomica, is perhaps the most consistent of all the miniature car brands, remaining the die-cast car brand in Japan for over 40 years. Design of Things 22, Tomica, Series 35, Mercedes-Benz G-Class. For this episode, I've taken one Tomica car from the standard Tomica line. Tomica makes a variety of different cars in different categories. They also feature a premium line and a more fantastical kind of fantasy line of cars. So let's start with this standard luxury class Mercedes. Zoom time. Starting with the body. It's cool to the touch, clearly made of die-cast metal. The angles of the bodywork are captured reasonably accurately and coated with a base layer of paint. Some items are detailed, either including plastic inserts or additional layers of paint. Each car is an interesting lesson in cost calculation and balancing. It is impossible to include every detail, so the designers have to choose which elements to focus on, or in other words, which to spend their money on. In this case, 2 additional colors of paint have been used. First, a tiny bit of red for the taillights, then black for other details like the back windows and this area on the spare tire, which includes an incredibly accurate, minuscule Mercedes logo. In fact, this logo, and this is common on all Tomica, is accurate. Most likely, Tomica doesn't want to get sued. They have to make sure that the logos are accurately represented. Likewise, on the front of the car, a very detailed logo. And this is where most of the detailing has been focused, on this iconic grille. Down to the texture of the air intake, it's impressive. As this is the most iconic part of the car, it makes sense that effort, time, and resources were put into rendering this accurately. Another interesting part of the design is that most Tomica, unless there has been significant cost put into another part of the car, feature one so-called action feature. In this case, opening passenger and driver doors. On other cars like this, it's the trunk or bonnet. Since the doors open, inviting us in, let's look at the interior. The interior is made of plastic, showcasing some nice detail in the seats, where the sections of the seat cushion are visible. We have the steering wheel and all the major details of the interior. We can also see how the windows are made, a transparent plastic insert fitted into the body of the car. Moving on to other details in the body, let's look at the wheels. These, though tiny, are in two parts, rims and tires, which are made of small plastic and have sufficient detailing to show the treads in the tire. The tires are connected by a metal axle, which is set into a frame that has some play, allowing for the simulation of suspension. It's simple, but pretty cool and ingenious, I would say. Finally, let's look at the bottom of the car. For nerds, this is one of the most important parts of the car. In a way, it's kind of like the plaque of the car. As Roman Mars always says, read the plaque. First, there are some additional details like the drivetrain and axles. Then the Tomica logotype and Tomy branding. To the left, here we have the series number, which is 35. There are over 100 different series, containing from 4 to 12 cars per series. Then the scale, here is 1/62. In general, this is 1/60, but is adjusted for particularly large or small vehicles, like this one here. Finally, we have the year. And last of all, there is the model of the car. This is only one example, but there are far more types and interesting takes, like this Lamborghini Miragiota from the premium line, and others from what I'll call the fantasy line, like this Shaun the Sheep Mobile. These are a perfect example of the careful details and effort put into the design of such a commonplace object like a toy. Truly, there is wonder found in the design of things. Until next time, and another explanation of the wonder in things around us on Design of Things.